Hey guys, Mr. Backerberg here. In this video, we're going to focus on using equations in slope-intercept form. So when we're talking about an equation being written in slope-intercept form, we're talking about this y equals mx plus b. And the reason why it's called slope-intercept form is because it tells you what the slope of your line is, and it also tells you what the y-intercept is. In this slope-intercept form, m represents the slope of your line, and the b value on the end, that represents your y-intercept. Now, sometimes as you're writing the equations, you might be given both of these pieces of information. So for example, if I said that we wanted to write out the equation for a line that has a slope of 2 and a y-intercept at -7, then we would just fill in both pieces of information there, and we would get the equation y equals 2x minus 7. Fill in the m for the m, fill in the b for the b, and there's your equation written in slope-intercept form. Now, you're not always told exactly what your m and your b values are. In this example, we're going to write out an equation for a line that passes through the point -1, 3 and has a slope of -4. So if we're thinking about our y equals mx plus b equation, they're telling us what the slope is, so that's our m value. But they don't tell us specifically what our y-intercept is, so they're not giving us the b value. We have to go through and do a little bit of work to figure out what that b value is. And here's where that point is going to come into play. Every ordered pair always gives you an x value and a y value. Well, if we think about our equation, it has x and y in it. It also has m in it for the slope. I can take these three pieces of information that we're given, and I can plug in all three to this y equals mx plus b form, and then I can go through and do some solving to figure out what my b value is. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug in -1 for my x, I'm going to plug in 3 for my y, and I'm going to plug in -4 for my m to solve to find b. So my y value, we said was 3, equals the slope of -4 times the x value of -1, but we don't know what b is right now. That's what we're trying to find, so we're just going to leave it as plus b on the end. Now, if we go through and work on simplifying this down and solving for b, -4 times -1 turns into +4, so we get 3 equals 4 plus b, but I want b to be alone. I'm solving to try to find b. So I'm going to take this 4, it's a +4, so to move it over to the other side, we're going to have to subtract 4 from both sides. So on the left-hand side, if I take 3 and subtract 4, I get -1. And on the right-hand side, those 4's cancel out, so all I have left over is my b value. So now I know that my b value is -1. What I can do now is write out my equation in slope-intercept form. I know my slope that was given to me at the very beginning, and I just found my y-intercept b value. So to write out this equation, it's going to be y equals the slope of -4 times x minus 1, since our b value is -1. So there's our equation. Now in this example, we're going to look at writing out an equation given 2 points. So we want to write out an equation for the line that passes through the points -2, 5 and 2, -1. And again, we want to write out our equation in slope-intercept form. So remember, that looks like y equals mx plus b. So to do this, we need to know our m slope and we need to know our b y-intercept. We're not told either one of those values, so there's a little bit of extra work that we have to do on this one. Because we're given 2 points, though, we should be able to find the slope of the line between those 2 points. We've got a formula for finding slope that says take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So for my points, we know that every point gives us an x and a y value, so I'm going to label those x and y. This is my first point, so I'm going to put little sub 1s on those. And this is my second point, so I'm going to put little sub 2s on those. That's going to help me make sure that I get my numbers plugged into the appropriate spot in this slope formula. So my y2 value, we just said, was -1, minus my y1 value is 5, over my x2 value is 2, minus that x1 value is -2. So on top, if I take -1 minus 5, that's going to be -6. On bottom, 2 minus -2, well, that double negative in there is going to turn positive, so 2 plus 2 is 4. Now, anytime we're dealing with a fraction, we should reduce down as much as possible. So 6 and 4 are each divisible by 2, so this reduces down to -3/2. So we just found our slope. We just figured out that our slope was -3/2, but we still need our b value, or our y-intercept. So what we're going to do is take that slope that we just found, and we're going to pick one of these points. And it doesn't matter which one you pick, you're going to get the same answer either way. I'm just going to choose the first point, that -2,5, and I'm going to fill in those as my x and my y in that equation, along with my slope of -3/2. So if I do that, that y value is 5 equals, we just found the slope to be -3/2. The x value from that first point is -2, but we don't know b. That's what we're trying to find right now. Now we do have some cleanup work to do in here. On the right-hand side, I notice that we're taking -3/2 times -2, so multiplying two negatives together turns positive. And then what I'm going to do is take this 2 and put it over 1. So as I'm multiplying this together, multiply the tops, and that's 6. Multiply the bottoms, and that's 2. And then we still have our plus b. Now 6 divided by 2 can reduce down. That just turns into 3. So we have 5 equals 3 plus b. I want to solve to get b alone, so I've got this +3 on the right-hand side. To get rid of a +3, we're going to have to subtract 3 on both sides. So the +3 and the -3 cancel each other out. On the left-hand side, 5 minus 3 is 2. So we get 2 as our b value. Now we've got everything we need to write out our equation. I know my m, my slope, is -3/2, and I just found my b value, y-intercept, to be 2. So the equation is y equals -3/2 x plus 2. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.